Oh my gosh. This is always such an adventure to get this thing off the ground. Maybe it's because we just don't know what we're doing. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 97 of the Gene Pool Variety Hour. I am one of your co-hosts. I'm Sean. I'm the old guy in the group. I'm Dad. And the guy on the other screen or in your other ear is...
What's up, guys? My name is Connor, also known as Quillmeister, aka the young hotness of the group, aka that guy's son over there.
Yeah, that guy. Okay. Oh, hey, what's up, Bill? So... sorry about that. Did exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, right?
We just got a new subscriber. Yay!
So,
one of my
anyway.
players in my Saturday campaign. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, buddy. Apparently, now that we've gone live, your mic is a little bit loud, so crank it down just a bit. We're just doing some...
How's there?
That's much better. That's much better. Okay,
There
cool.
we go.
So, anyway, we are clearly not professional at what we do. We clearly don't have an audio engineer to do this stuff. We are just a couple of nerds that like to talk about nerdy stuff. So we pick a random movie to review every week, or I don't know if you could call it review. Just talk about
Intergenerational nerddom.
Yeah, that's it. And then then we just talk about nerdy stuff. Connor usually has some kind of weird question for us to talk about, and then we just talk about whatever.
My mind is a labyrinth.
Whatever our nerd things, interests bring to our mind that week. So, anyway, yeah, that's us. So, anything been going on with you? Anything interesting? Any interesting nerd stuff going on, or hobbies or interests?
This week has been so boring. It's been nothing but trainings and meetings. August is our professional development month,
Yeah.
Before we start the school year again in September.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So you know how I have a hard time staying awake when I'm just forced to sit down and listen to people talk?
Yeah.
I've had a hard time staying awake during all these trainings and such this week, but I've had to stay awake because if I fall asleep, I get in trouble.
Right.
So I've been trying to get as much sleep as I can all week. It's been hard with the raccoons. It's been hard because of other stuff. Just making my brain stay awake later.
Yeah, I get it.
It's just been so boring, because I don't retain information like that. I don't. I can participate in the moments, but I don't retain information, but I just have it being talked at me.
Right. So, pro tip. You ready?
Okay.
Get you a thumbtack. Put it in your shoe. And whenever you start falling asleep, just kind of press your foot down on that thumbtack and just puncture your skin a little bit. Start a little pain response.
How would I walk though? Because that would only work if I like sit down, take my shoe off, actually put the thumbtack inside, and then put my shoe back on.
That's a good point. Then keep it in your hand and just kind of squeeze down on it.
So the clinical psychologist's answer is self-mutilation. Gotcha.
No, I didn't say self-mutilation. I just said
that's what it is.
No,
You're
no.
poking yourself.
No, that's just you being a masochist.
I have oxhide for skin. You know how thick my skin is. I would literally have to push down hard enough to see blood.
Well, just get a sharp tack. Just sharpen it up a little bit.
Again, I would look like
okay.
I wouldn't even know how to describe it.
Pinch yourself, bite your tongue. There you go.
I've tried that.
Okay.
That it doesn't work because I've done worse to myself. Because apparently I've done worse to myself in my actual sleep. I've literally woken up one time with a bloody lip. Not sure how.
Well, sucks to be you then. Good luck.
Yes. It does suck to be me. My life is a cavalcade of crapdom right now.
Well, and
But I'm choosing to smile through the pain.
there's some difficulty going on. You're right, but
Yeah.
there'll be lightness on the other side of the tunnel. So anyway,
There better be.
so any fun nerd stuff going on, or is it just blah
I've
stuff?
still been playing Borderlands pre-sequel. Ever since I finally managed to beat that DLC finally, I've been on a kick on it lately because I've played Borderlands 2 to death.
Yeah.
But I've barely played Borderlands pre-sequel, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to play it some with you that day, and man, pre-sequel just doesn't. I think it's the Vault Hunters. The characters just don't grab me. Borderlands 1, the characters didn't really grab me, but it was a new thing.
Yeah.
2 really grabbed me, and then of course with the DLC characters, especially with Gage, I really liked her. And then Borderlands 3, a couple of them kind of grew on me. So I've beaten it with 2 of them, and I would like to 100% the game, but man, there's some named locations I just can't find. Anyway. So.
There's it's because there's some named locations you can only get to with a full party of 4.
Oh really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of raid bosses that like will only come up if there's like a full 4 Vault Hunter party.
Oh well, that sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, then I'm not gonna worry about it because 4's coming out in just a few weeks.
Exactly.
So
Can't
other
wait
than
to
that,
pre-order it.
yeah. Other than that, I've started playing a French-Japanese RPG.
Okay, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things is across the ocean.
Okay, so
an entire landmass apart.
Wait. Okay, they're both across the ocean from us.
No. An entire landmass apart from each other.
Well, they are
France.
Sure.
Yeah, they are. So how?
May I explain?
French, Japanese RPG. What?
May I explain?
Yes.
Okay. The game is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I think it was made by French developers. Anyway, it's very French. The music is French. The accents, a lot of the accents are French. Although the main character is Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil. He does the voice for the main character. So I mean, it's done in English. I mean, it's English, but there's definitely it's kind of set in a very French kind of French style music, French style.
Okay, but so then where does the JRPG come in?
Because it's a Japanese style RPG. It's a turn-based RPG.
Okay, so turn-based is not straight up Japanese.
I know. Yeah, but usually they refer to it as a JRPG when it's like turn-based. That's just kind of the generic.
No.
Yeah.
No. They call it TBRPG, turn-based role-playing game.
Okay. I'm just telling you that's the way I've seen it. Okay, so that's
Speaking
the way I'm saying.
Speaking as someone who's played a lot of them. Dragon Quest, Blue Dragon, Pokemon.
I'm just telling you what I know. I'm just telling you what I've seen. So there you go. So anyway, I've been playing that. I'd seen it on Game Pass and I'd heard good things about it. But I just had not really gotten into it because I was just kind of playing a lot of Borderlands 3, and I finally decided to fire it up. And it's look, those kind of RPGs, the turn-based RPGs, are not my favorite because a lot of it is, you having to time your dodges and your blockings, parries, and that kind of stuff to block damage.
What? That's not turn-based role-playing game.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Just go watch some videos of this stinking game. You take turns.
With turn-based role-playing game, you choose an action, your avatar does the action, and then your opponent does an action, and you essentially go through sets of actions and commands with idle motions in the middle. There's
yes.
There's not.
Yes, but in this game, when your enemy attacks, you can try to dodge their attack or you can try to parry their attack. It's still turn-based. You're still selecting your skill, waiting your turn. Yeah, absolutely.
That just seems like extra steps that
Nope.
aren't necessary.
Well, listen, couldn't you block in like Final Fantasy VII and dodge in those
I've
games
never
too?
played any of the Final Fantasy games, Dad.
Okay.
I didn't know that you did.
Long time ago, back when I had an original PlayStation.
Oh man.
Okay,
Yeah, that was
so
like a long time ago.
I just did a quick search. Yes, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is generally considered a JRPG, despite being developed by a French studio. The game draws heavily from the JRPG genre's tropes and conventions, including turn-based combat with real-time elements, a focus on storytelling, and a distinct visual style inspired by the Belle Epoque period in France. While it's not developed in Japan, it's a clear homage to the genre and its mechanics, such as the turn-based battles and focus on character interaction, place it firmly within the JRPG classification. Mic drop. Done. So, there you go. I don't know what you're waving because I'm looking at something else. So I see you waving something on the screen, but I can't tell what it is. It's some kind of bird or something. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so, I mean, it's good. It's like I started fighting a boss that I found the other day, and he's a fire-based, he's flame-based, and so when he attacks you, you catch on fire, and then so you take some flame damage each turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on fire, if you and your party are burning, then after a round or two, he takes all the burning damage that you've taken, and he takes that as health. So the only way you can avoid that and really kind of beat him down is to dodge and parry enough so that you're never on fire. And I can never do it. I can never time. I mean, I can time it right a lot of times, but sometimes I just can't. And then, I'm on fire. He's going to heal himself, and we're starting all over again. So that's frustrating. But it's an interesting, side thing. I mean, it's very well done. My buddy Brandon absolutely loves it, and I think he's at like level 95 or something in the game. I'm at like level 20. He thinks it's fantastic. He's played it a lot. But I haven't played it a lot. Like I said, I'm at like level 20. So I'll play through it once, just to enjoy it and enjoy the story. I think he's played through it more than once, or is doing a lot, trying to 100% it or whatever. But it's been a nice diversion, instead of just kind of playing Borderlands 3 over and over and over and kind of doing things over and over that I've already done, since I've kind of have to accept the fact I'm not going to 100% that game.
Fair.
So I'll probably play Clair Obscur until Borderlands 4 comes out, I guess. So, but it's kind of neat. And if you like, if you like turn-based RPGs, give it a shot, give it a chance. Just check it out.
Do you know it would be fun to just stroll down memory lane with?
What's that?
Diablo 3 is free on Game Pass.
So is Diablo 4.
I know. So that could be something you and I could do, just to stroll down memory lane.
Yep. Man, I have to remember the mechanics of that.
I wish I could find the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. I would love to replay those with you.
I love those games. I wish they would remake them. Just pick one of them and remake them.
I mean, that game is what really bonded all of the McKay boys. Even Mitch played it.
Yeah, I mean, if all they did was take that game and update it with current graphics and just kept the game as it is, I'd be happy with that.
Exactly.
But so anyway,
and even though that game was basically just a linear chapter-based progression kind of game, there was always so much to do and so many missions to accomplish that it felt like it took hours and hours and hours to accomplish.
Right.
It took days and weeks to accomplish. Do you remember who you always mained?
Either Deadpool or Moon Knight, I thought.
Deadpool was the first one. Moon Knight was the second one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In one, I think I mained in one, I think I did. Let's see. No, Luke was Human Torch. Mitch was always Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think in 1 and 2, I might have made Gambit in both of them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because I know you love Gambit, so.
He's just so cool.
Yeah.
And I just felt so satisfied when I could see Channing Tatum as Gambit, as he was always meant to be, you know?
Yeah, but that's not going to happen in a movie or anything. I don't think.
I know. It did in the third Deadpool movie.
Yeah, I mean, like having his own movie, kind of thing.
I know.
And there's
no more
there's
Blades, no more Electras, nothing like that.
Well, the Electra movie was a terrible movie.
Fair.
So.
Oh,
and
I have to. What still makes me...
What?
Do you know what still makes me laugh?
What?
So, for almost 15 years, we had prim proper Chris Evans be prim proper Captain America.
The post-credit scene, I get it.
The post-credit scene of just, it's literally like 3 minutes, uninterrupted, unbleeped, cursing and dirty mouth from. Oh my god.
The story is that when Ryan Reynolds was trying to talking to Chris about getting him involved in Deadpool 3, Chris Evans said he would agree to do the movie only if he got to do that scene. That's the only reason, that if he got to do that scene, then he was in. But if he didn't get to do something like that, then he was out. So
he had to separate himself from the prim proper Captain America.
Well, he started. He started as the cocky Human Torch back with Fantastic Four.
Fair, and wasn't he also like the one of the evil boyfriends in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World or something?
Yes, he was. Yeah. So, so that's kind of cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on. Yes.
I've started binge watching Lost.
Oh, okay. I heard the ending was really weird, so I just never got into that show. I don't think I've seen one full episode.
So the lead up to that final arc is very satisfying from what I've heard.
Well, yeah.
It's the actual final arc that just kills any fans,
Yeah, I know. It's
the actual lead up that is kind of fun.
It's kind of like Dexter. It was good up until the last season, and then the ending of the season series finale was terrible, and I never even finished that last season. And
then they did the whole reboot thing.
Yeah. So
with like his son having the same kind of stuff he did, so he then like tries to pass on the torch. So it's like, dude, why?
Yeah, I know. So
let's see. So actually, that does beg the question.
Yeah.
Is there a show you feel was ruined by its final arc or final season?
Ruined? That's a good question.
Yes, because you and I watch a lot of shows.
I can't say for sure about Dexter because I heard the ending was so bad. I couldn't make myself finish the last season. I started watching it, and I loved that show so much. I didn't want to get to the end and be so stinking disappointed by it.
I didn't hear that you liked that show. You didn't tell me about it.
I watched. Well, come on, man. It's about a serial killer. You guys were younger when that show was out. I wasn't going to tell you, hey, I like watching this show about this guy killing people. No.
You showed us Criminal Minds, and that's basically like a more PC version of it.
Yeah, that was network TV. That Dexter was on Showtime, so it was much more graphic and stuff. Fair. So, probably one of the best villains I've ever seen in my life was the character that John Lithgow played one season in Dexter. Oh my gosh!
Lithgow. That's like, is that like the really really old guy?
No. You ever see the show Third Rock from the Sun?
Yeah, that he was the dad, right?
He was the dad. Him, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's not old.
He's he's graying and wrinkled.
Sure, but when I think old, really old, I think somebody in their 80s. Okay, I don't think
Isn't
he's
he in his 80s?
I don't think so. Anyway,
But yeah,
so
I know the guy you're talking about.
But shows that were ruined, man. Now, are you talking about the entire series was ruined because of the end, or just that season was ruined, or what?
I would say the overall story. Because the show ended on such a sour note, and if you go to rewatch it, you know how it's going to end, so it just kind of kills the original vibe you had for it, you know. So like, a perfect example.
Yeah.
For me, the ending of Frasier was horrible.
See, and I don't even remember the ending of Frasier.
These literally the final seconds of the final episode of Frasier is essentially him landing in Chicago to possibly confess to this girl he thought he loved for a final attempt for a relationship in his like haytime years, you know.
Yeah.
But that's where it ended. We never got any kind of redemption or knowing what happened until Paramount Plus came out with the continuation reboot series of Frasier, where we find out he basically became Chicago's Oprah.
Right. You do realize that Oprah was in Chicago, so that's kind of silly saying Chicago's Oprah. Well, guess what?
I don't know. I didn't know where
Oprah was based in Chicago. So
anyway, basically like Oprah meets Dr. Phil.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't think of any series finale or ending storyline that ruined an entire series for me. I know that the
Killjoys.
No, I'll get to that in just a minute. The
Dark Matter.
No, will you stop and let me finish? Crying out loud. Seinfeld. The series finale for Seinfeld was horrendous.
Yeah,
and that puts a bad taste in your mouth. But you know, so I just watched it up to the series finale and choose not to watch the series finale. It doesn't ruin the series for me.
See, I'm a completionist. I have to try and watch it all the way to the end. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get this weird feeling in my mouth.
And I have, so I mean, I can say I've done that. So, but yeah, there's a couple of shows out there that I wouldn't say my issues are more when series I love get cut short. When they get canceled.
Like Firefly.
Well, Firefly is the classic example. And then they only got one season, man. But, and so they barely had time to even really establish deep storylines. But three of my favorites that I still to this day, well, two especially.
Dark Matter, Killjoys,
Dark Matter,
and
Defiance. Those are the three, man. You know, because you've heard me talk about them, right? Now,
Killjoys. So basically anything on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, right. Because that's Sci-Fi.
SYFY, yeah.
That's Sci-Fi's, MO. Hey, let's get everybody excited about this show, and then we'll cancel it. So hold on. I'm not done yet. So Killjoy's not as much. Of the three, it was probably my least favorite. But I've been thinking about going back and watching it because everybody talks about how that one, all these best sci-fi shows that you haven't seen or whatever. Killjoys is one of the ones that's always on there. Defiance,
Lost Girl.
Defiance, and Dark Matter are not, but I really like those. So I want to go back and watch Killjoys just to see if there's something that I missed. Something that I wasn't getting. And I think it got one more season than Dark Matter did, I think. But I just hated that. It's like, okay, if you know you're going to cancel a show, at least let them know ahead of time so they can kind of tie up storylines to finish the series instead of just cutting it off. It's like Resident Evil, It's kind of a fun show, and I've gone through the 3 seasons. There's the 4th season that's out on Sci-Fi right now. But I'm going to wait till it comes out on Netflix, and then I'll binge it when it comes on Netflix. Well, they found out pretty soon in the season 4 development that they were going to get canceled.
Resident Evil?
No, Resident Alien. Did I say Resident Evil?
You said Resident. Yes,
okay.
you did.
Oh, sorry, that shows my roots, my video game roots. Resident Alien. 3 seasons.
It's not a show.
What? I know, but buddy,
Resident Evil. You keep on saying it's a show.
Resident Alien. What I was saying was yes. I said Resident Evil because that's so much part of my lexicon from video game days. What I'm saying is I'll go back and listen and see what you're saying. But with Resident Alien, better.
Yes.
They found out
Alan
early.
Tudyk was king in that.
They found out early in development for season 4 that they were going to get canceled after season 4. So that allowed the showrunner to tie up storylines so they could kind of have a satisfying ending at the end of season 4. So that makes me happy,
Yeah.
when they do that. If they had done that with Dark Matter, if they had done that with Killjoys and with Defiance and had one more season to tie up storylines, I'd have been okay with that. It's like Battlestar Galactica. Man, I would have loved to have had 5 more seasons of Battlestar Galactica, but we only got 4, right? I think it's 4.
Original or remake?
No, the remake. I think it was 4 seasons. Maybe it was 5. I can't remember. But they knew that they were ending. I think the showrunner kind of just he said, "This is my story arc. I wanted this many seasons," and he got that. So he was able to have an ending of the series, right? And even though a lot of people were not happy with kind of the series finale because there seemed to be some things left out in the open, like, oh, I don't know, what is Starbuck? Where did she disappear to? Kind of stuff. And all the questions about that, it still allowed everything to get tied up. And so I was okay with that,
So, question.
Yeah.
Didn't if Battlestar Galactica was like a reboot from an original series, didn't the original series might have touched on what Starbuck was, or is this whole recent thing with Starbuck like a unique thing?
Okay, all right, yes, it did. Now in the original series, I think the original series was only like 2 or 3 seasons. I can't remember because my gosh, it came out to capitalize on the whole Star Wars frenzy, right?
Yeah.
And Mitch is in the chat now, and my chat's messed up, so I can't reply over here. So something happened with OBS when it rebooted. Yes, I know. Okay, I'm old. I use wrong words. Okay, be happy that I'm using words at all. So anyway,
what else are you gonna use? Are you gonna suddenly grow antenna and send out pheromone signals at me or something?
Yeah, that sure. Okay. Anyway, so where were we? What were we talking about?
Science bar.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about my legendary awesomeness, obviously.
Yeah, always.
Aside from my legendary awesomeness.
No, we were talking about the original Battlestar Galactica, and you were saying, didn't they touch on that? Yes, I am. Didn't they touch on that with Starbuck? And they did, actually. There was my gosh, it's been 40, 50 years or whatever. But the original Starbuck was a guy, and there was one part where he got his ship, his Viper, he got caught up in some like crystalline kind of spaceship of some kind with some of these weird kind of beings, and then and then when he came back, his
don't you dare quote Jim to me.
So they were their uniforms were like brown and tan, and of course the Vipers are like the gray and tannish and orange and stuff. When he came back, his uniform and his helmet was solid white, and his Viper was solid white. And there were like these indications, did he kind of meet God, and did something change? So there was a little bit of something of that with the original. They just took it a little bit further with Katie Sackhoff's character in the remake. So, but anyway, my issues are more when series get cut off and they don't get to tie up storylines. I can't think of a show where the series finale ruined the entire series for me.
For me, it's when a show goes on for so long, that they just don't even know what to do anymore.
No, that's
perfect.
Yeah.
A perfect example of that, Look at Cheers. How long did Cheers go on? For like what, 12, 13 seasons? It felt like
something like that. Yeah.
And then not only that, we had Kelsey Grammer. He played the Frasier Crane character for over 20 years. Can anyone else in the entirety of cinema leave a legacy like that?
Yeah.
Playing essentially the same character for 20 plus years.
Right.
It got to the point where literally there was a line in an episode of Frasier where he was having dinner with his ex-wife who was like a child performer for so long in that universe.
Right.
She literally said, "Do you know what it's like having to play the same character for 20 years?" And there's just this like 3-minute long boisterous laughter in the crowd because everybody's like, "Yes, he does. Yes, he does." Oh man. Okay.
So
I believe Homer Simpson has had like 4 or 5 voice actors in his runtime.
I don't know about that, but no. Mitch was asking the question in the chat: what's the sci-fi show that had the guy who had the bald eagle head haircut? And I know exactly who you're talking about. I can picture him in my head, Mitch. But man, was he in Buck Rogers? I'm asking.
Buck Rogers.
Oh my word. Okay, I want to look that up.
But yeah, it's just when a show has gone on for so long that they honestly don't know how to end it. It kills me. You know, another great example, Supernatural. Supernatural has the current runtime record for 15 consecutive seasons, back to back, no breaks, no discontinuations or offshoots or anything like that. Just literally back to back 15 years, you know?
Yeah.
And the final episode of Supernatural is some kind of messed up bullcrap death of one of the main characters. So just a little context.
Yes.
The Winchester brothers of Sam and Dean, the main characters of the show.
Yeah.
They have survived monsters, ghosts, demons, angels, gods, God with a capital G, and death with a capital D. They have survived all of that. And do you know what kills Dean? A nail in his back when he shoved into a barn wall.
Wow.
Yes. That is so unsatisfying. The fact that this guy who literally went up against the apocalypse, literally there was an entire season where Dean and Sam were going against the actual biblical apocalypse. And it's like, what the what?
Yeah.
How could they let this literal warrior of a man be killed? Literally, it's akin to Achilles being cut on his Achilles tendon.
Yeah. Wow. I'm trying to think if there's any shows that I used to watch that I think, okay, they've just kind of gone too long. Mm-hmm. MASH got close. Now
I feel like MASH got close. The last 2 seasons were a little.
I would say more the last season. I think it was getting there. If they'd gone another season, it would have been a little bit too much.
When you could start seeing the work Loretta Swit had, and her skin was looking more and more like painted red almost.
Right.
You could tell it was kind of getting on. Well,
but anyway, so yeah, I guess that's a pretty good conversation about TV shows. We didn't even do it. We didn't even chase too many chickens. I keep forgetting. That's the bad thing. I keep forgetting to hit the chicken button. So
we need a mod who can help us monitor when we need to put the chicken button. Ask Mitch. He's here every week.
We need a chicken mod.
let's see. So now, should we get into the actual question?
Yeah, why don't we do that? So now it's time for the geek question, right? Let me see if I can find the
Yep.
right button. I think this is the right button. Let's
Let's
see if
do
this
it.
is the right button.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
We are so professional. Okay, so what's the question?
So the question is, what are some classic superhero tropes that you hate?
Okay, I got some ideas. I imagine
I got one.
I imagine
I got a big one.
I imagine our buddy in the chat would probably go anything MCU.
But listen, I got a big one.
Okay, go ahead.
I call it the Kryptonite paradox.
Okay.
So
you're coming up with your own trope. That's cool.
So no, listen. So Kryptonite, by its definition, in the Superman canon, is that it was a mineral that was since hurtling through space when Krypton exploded. Correct?
Right.
So literally, Krypton exploded millions of light years away from Earth. It was pure luck that Superman even landed on Earth in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And yet somehow, not only one, but almost 7 different types of kryptonite managed to follow that exact same path, hurtling through the exact same space, going through the exact same obstacles as Superman did as a baby, and all seemed to land on Earth. To the point where literally people were able to make their own kryptonites. They were able to there were bandits who just had like a kryptonite shiv in their pocket at one point. It's like sure, this man is more powerful than God in a way, but there's just so much of his natural weakness around. Yeah. It's just at some point it's like, why even try if literally a 2-bit mugger can have a piece of kryptonite in his back pocket?
I don't know, man.
You know?
Yeah, we're looking at the chat, so.
Well, that too. That literally all he has to do is
very well played.
Oh man, he literally all he does slick back the hair, wears the glasses, and no one recognizes him.
Yeah.
No,
so in the chat,
it's not the fact. So it's not the fact that there's this reporter who has delts and pecs the size of butter churns, just working as.
Where did butter churn come from? I mean, how did you pull that one out of your butt? Okay, anyway.
I don't know, but it fits.
Okay.
It's just working as a mild-mannered, klutzy reporter, and then we see this superhero, same body type, literally just no glasses and cowlick slicked back. Why?
Right. You know, and so you know, in the chat, you know, they were talking about, wait, you're tripped up on the whole Superman Kryptonite thing, and he completely disguises himself with a pair of glasses, and then suddenly disappears whenever Superman shows up. That's well played.
Every hero has has that disappearance, never in the same place kind of trope anyway.
Right.
Hey, but Superman's is what really messes me up, because at least there are several other heroes that at least have masks on to help obscure their face. But he has nothing. He has nothing.
Yeah, well.
It's like, what the what?
You know, it's not just the glasses, but when he's Clark Kent and he's wearing the glasses, he has just the straight comb over. But when he's Superman, he has the little swirl and no glasses. Completely throws everybody off. They just see the swirl, and that just.
They literally sound exactly the same, though.
True, but you know.
I mean, at least with the Flash, he's able to like manipulate his vocal cords.
Well, you've heard of hand twins. Maybe that's his voice twin.
You are not gonna pull. You are not gonna pull some Tribbiani BS out of your butt right now.
Right.
Anyway, it's just there are so many heroes that have just such random weird weaknesses as well. For example, there was a brief stint in which Green Lantern was weak to literally wood and the color yellow. No, not the yellow power ring, literally the color, the actual color yellow.
Well, because he had PTSD, and the color yellow was a trigger of his trauma.
Okay, but so then, okay, but literally, does that mean a grade schooler could have brought down Green Lantern with just a sharpened yellow number 2 pencil?
Hey, man, there's no telling how they defeat enemies in the comics. So sure, why not? It is a yellow number 2 pencil made from ancient Celtic elm, from the Druids. I don't know.
What?
I'm just saying. I mean, comics can come up with anything. So, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. So, yeah,
don't
challenge our buddy Mitch in the chat on comic knowledge, man.
The reason why I enjoy Marvel a bit more over DC is because DC essentially took that whole thing of a superhero having like an actual physical weakness and just ran with it. But Marvel kind of didn't have that. They built villains that kind of counteracted and made antitheses to the hero, but didn't like embody specific weaknesses for those heroes.
Right, Right. So I'm just going to say I love superhero movies. I mean, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but that's kind of the extent of my. I was just reading something in the chat. That's the extent of my knowledge of superheroes. So I am not going to even. I'm not going to even begin to challenge, knowledge on backgrounds of superhero characters, because I just don't have that knowledge base. My knowledge base is basically the shows I watched as a kid and the movies that I watch now, because I never got a chance to get into the comics when I was little. So anyway,
I didn't either.
So if
I'm still happy about it.
All right, and just as an advertisement for the stream, for the folks that are just listening via podcast, you really need to be in here so you can catch some of the comments that are going on in the chat. It's pretty funny. So we're finding all kinds of people whose weaknesses were wood, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to let that go. So I haven't even answered this question yet.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I mean, I have a hard time with that. I think one of the things that I don't like, that just doesn't seem to make sense to me, is when they monologue. When you get the bad guy having his scene to have his little soliloquy and his little monologue about why he's doing the evil stuff he's doing and why the evil stuff he's doing he does not see as evil.
Batman.
What about Batman?
Almost every single one of Batman's villains had a monologue. Joker, Bane, Ra's, almost all of them had like minutes-long monologues.
Yeah, I'm steering clear of any conversations about Batman because you might get taken out, Connor. I'm just gonna leave it because So Batman's great. I like Batman. And I'm not talking about any specific villain. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, if you have all this power that you have, why are you going to sit there and waste 10 or 15 minutes explaining to your nemesis why you're doing what you're doing? Just stinking do it. Hey, Thanos, just snap your stinking fingers and stop saying, well, this is for the greater good, and who cares? Just do it, man. So that that's one trope that bugs me. Now listen, I'm not saying that there are not some fantastic speeches out there by villains. I'm not saying that. I just hate the fact that it's kind of just a trope that they have them. What are some other ones? I think
I'm reaching a chaos.
I think that the idea that so many of them come from this dark psychological pain and everything. I think that's a foundational part of Batman's backstory, right? And I think it's a really powerful one. But I don't think and of course everyone doesn't, but it just seems like it's a bit of a trope that it comes from some kind of dark pain. I think some characters it makes sense, but it seems like there's just an overabundance of that for me. So yeah, and I agree, right? Yeah, that exactly it. That's the same. That's exactly it with like in Thanos with Endgame and all that stuff, Infinity War. That he didn't see himself as a bad guy. He thought honestly, and it wasn't just he was throwing words out there to justify what he was doing. He honestly felt like this is the right and good thing to do for the salvation of the universe. And in some ways, he wasn't wrong. Now, to unilaterally make that decision is another issue. But yeah, I agree. He completely thought he was the hero in that story. And so a lot of them, I think you're right. I think all of them do think that they are the hero in the story. Now, some, I think,
except Joker.
Well, he's just about chaos, but a lot of them, they think they're the hero in the story, but they're really just trying to amass power for themselves. Like, oh God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Is it Red Mask? The red guy in Captain America, the
Red
first
Skull.
Avenger, Red Skull. Thank you. I was drawing a blank again. #old. #cognitive decline. Yeah, so
don't say that.
So he thought that he was doing good, but he was really just wanting to amass power and have control.
He didn't think he was doing good. He just felt like he was doing science to make himself evolve.
So he can make but I think there was a much more of a power hungry aspect to him and his motivations.
Exactly, his whole thing was power hungry.
Than say Thanos, right? That's what I mean. But he thought that he was perfectly justified in what he's doing, but I don't think he thought he was anyway. I don't see him as thinking he was actually doing good for the universe like Thanos did.
So
yeah,
Thanos. I know this is gonna get me hit at a good bit. Thanos, his mission at its core was not wrong. At his core, he was worried about resources and the universe not being able to support itself because we keep on adding to it.
Sure.
Instead of looking to sustain it. Mm-hmm. So at his core, he was trying to fix that problem. He was just going about it in basically a hammer through the wall, quick fix kind of thing. Just quickly get rid of half of everything, so that then we can work on it then.
Yeah. So, man, we just getting some great stuff in the chat. I wish there was more folks in here to join in, but
we should honestly have Mitch as as a guest next time.
We should. We should have a comic centric episode and just me and you just kind of sit out of the way and just let him talk for an hour and a half, and we'll just nod and say, yeah, that's it.
Oh no,
and that's a great point. That's a great.
Mitch, I agree with you. Joker, he got his true revelation and his true arrival when there was someone to go up against.
Yeah.
There are literally comics and episodes and canon of where Joker reveals his biggest fear is being in a world without the Batman, to be his opposite, to be his good, to be the good to his chaos.
I'm just enjoying watching you try to tell Mitch what he needs to know about Batman.
I'm agreeing with him. I'm agreeing to his stuff. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm agreeing to what he's saying.
Yeah, it's like when someone walks up to me and they try to tell me how to do therapy with people. I just kind of laugh. I'm like, did you go to school for 24 years? I went for school for 24 years. So
I feel like I kind of went to school.
Gosh,
that's just for 24 years,
dude. That's just depressing to hear. When you say the words, I went to school for 24 years. That's just depressing to hear that number. I used to have kids come to my office for like career day because they were in high school and they were kind of interested in maybe going into psychology. And I think I probably talked a bunch of them out of it because they would say, they inevitably would ask the question, so how long did you have to go to school? And I'm like, okay, so when you graduated high school, when I graduated high school, I was halfway done. And said, oh, so just 4 more years? I'm like, no, I didn't say when I graduated, how many years did I go to school? And they go, 12. And I said, okay, I was halfway done. And I just slowly would watch the wheels turn, and they realize you went to school for 24 total years for what you do. And they kind of turn white and go, thanks, I'm out. I'm like, good. So anyway, that was a professional chicken. So anyway, I guess monologuing is one. For some of the origin stories for some of them, there has to be some kind of psychological break kind of thing, and I don't think that has to be. And I know it's not for every character. I'm just kind of grasping at straws, kind of thinking of tropes that I don't like. No capes, definitely no capes. No capes. So, but other than that, I think monologuing is probably the one that bothers me the most because it just doesn't make sense to me. If you're that powerful and you have this strong agenda and you know that you have these people that you see as bad because you think you're good and you think they're bad because they're trying to stop you, why not just do what you're going to do and stop explaining it to everybody? So anyway, so that's mine.
Exactly. Don't leave the laser on. It's slowly going up the board. Just crank that sucker to 11 and just go. Vroom.
Yeah. So, side note, this is another one. I wish I had a sound effect for a bug. So if you see me kind of moving on my screen a lot, what's going on is I went for a hike on Saturday. I went for a 5-mile hike on Saturday, and the trail that I went on ended up not being very well maintained at all. I had to kind of basically blaze my own trail on the trail because it was so overgrown in some spots. When I got back to my car, my legs were covered with literally hundreds of chiggers and baby ticks crawling all over my legs. My legs are completely eaten up right now. They're all gone.
Oof.
They're all gone, but they left their mark. And I've got...
Are you sure?
I've got hundreds of itchy little bite marks all over my legs. Yeah, it's fun. Fun stuff, man. So, what?
No. I don't think Mitch knows the insect term chigger.
Yes, he does. He's from the South. Boy, he's from Alabama like we are. He knows exactly what a chigger is.
Why did we go see him more often? If he was that close.
Because anytime I go down there, and I try to, but anytime I go down there, like when I was there in June, man, I was taking care of my dad. I didn't really have much time to do stuff like that.
I meant when we were living in Georgia. He was like your best friend. But you never even told me he lived in Alabama.
Yeah, I did. He came and got one of our TVs. I gave him one of our TVs.
Huh?
Yeah. I gave his daughter an Xbox controller. So, but yeah, you're right. We should have done more, and I'll yeah. So, anyway, okay. So, how about we move on to the movie? I think we kind of beat that question enough.
Oh man, you can never beat a question off enough.
So, anyway,
I'm not
going to go
touch that.
No, I'm not touching that one. So anyway, what do we do now? We just kind of sit here and stare at each other now? I guess we do, because that's what Connor's doing right now. He's got his nice little ring light glaring in his crooked glasses he's got going on. So, all right, listen. Let's talk about the movie, because I want to talk about. I enjoyed this movie. So it's time for the next installment of
Roll for credits.
There you go. We'll get this right at some point. So the movie we watched, the movie we watched is a movie from 2023 out of Norway. It's a Norwegian movie. It's a Norwegian World War II movie. And so the story is the setup for this movie. Let's see if I can just read it here. So, summer 1941, Hitler seems unstoppable, invading the Soviet Union. Convoys of cargo ships with war materials begin the perilous journey to Murmansk, which is a port in Soviet Union. Ordinary sailors facing German superiority in the icy Arctic Sea with their lives at stake. And it says the decisive battles of World War II were fought on the East Front. The Allies supply weapons and provisions to the Soviet Union. These goods were transported on civilian freighters, which go down in history as the Arctic Convoys. The crew of these ships were civilians. And these convoys were protected by Allied military escorts, but they were surrounded by German airplanes and warships and submarines all the time. And so these Norwegian civilians, and if you look at the stuff at the end of the movie, there were 30,000 Norwegian merchant marines, merchant sailors, that were tasked and volunteered to take supplies to the Soviet Union from Norway or from or Iceland actually, and it was about a 12-day trip, and there would be these convoys of all this material. And they would have British and I guess American forces that would escort them to protect them to get there. But they were constantly dealing with German U-boats and battleships and German planes, and having to fight through that. And so this movie is about that. It's inspired by those true events. It's like what would happen if they didn't have an escort. And so, in reality, if you looked at the information about the movie, at the end, they said a total of 78 of these convoys happened over the course of World War II. And out of those 78 convoys, one time their convoy protection, their escort, left and told them to scatter. And so they were completely undefended and had to try to get to Murmansk. And it says that on that one trip, there were 35 ships, only 11 made it. The other 24 got sunk. So this is the story of that and how they survived. I took everybody's advice. I did not watch the English dub version this time. I watched the original Norwegian language and watched the subtitles.
So there wasn't an English dub version.
Yeah, there was. There was
I watched it on Hulu, and it was still in Norwegian.
Yes, there was two to choose from. You could pick the one in the original language, or you could pick the movie. It was listed as a separate movie, but they have an English dub.
Okay.
So I watched it
in the
originally.
too.
Yep, with the subtitles, and man, this was a great movie. This was a really good movie. If you're into any kind of war movies or anything like that, you get some of that. But this was more about conflict on the ship and power dynamics, and Do we save people that are stranded and put our entire ship at risk? Do we is mutiny called for the greater good? Or is dedication to the mission primary above all else? And there was real conflict between the captain and the first mate. It was really I was super impressed by this movie. What were your overall thoughts? And we can kind of get into some of the specifics.
I loved the storytelling of it. You could feel the tension with every single day cars that came up, every single scene shift. You could feel the actual tension and worry in these young men and woman. I actually forget if the main Morse code decoder was a man or a woman.
She was a woman. She was female.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can never tell these days, honestly.
Yeah. But no, she was, and she was the only female on the ship, which was kind of surprising. But she was the radio. She was the Morse code operator. Yeah. I think I sent when I watched it because we didn't get a chance to do the show last week, so I ended up watching it last week, and then I watched it again today. So I watched it twice, and I remember sending you the message within the first 5 minutes when I watched it the first time. I'm like, dude, this is already tense. In the first 5 minutes of the movie. They're having to look for mines, and they're having to literally float through minefields and hang off the side of the ship and push the mines away.
With boat hooks.
With boat hooks, right. But yeah, so the captain was Scar was his name. There you go. He was your typical like hardened sailor, hardened sea captain. I was going to say seaman, but that would have that would go wrong. So a hardened sea captain,
you could say sailor.
And so he was all about the mission. There was a scene early on where he and the first mate and the radio operator and the ship's engineer, they were kind of sitting in the captain's mess talking, and they were. And he was talking bad about the Norwegian prime minister, how he was weak and he was not getting involved in the war, and that civilians were doing more for the war effort than the government was. And so he was really kind of holding a hard line about this is what we should be doing. The first mate had been a captain of another ship that had been sunk, and so now he was first mate on this ship, and he was much more willing to consider other angles and try to look for, peaceful or diplomatic ways to do things, and didn't seem as gung-ho as the captain was. And so that created a little tension from the get-go. And then they started to have conflicts, and then they found out that the escort was leaving, and they had to scatter and all go on their own. Plus, they were having some engine trouble. And so the captain was like, all right, we're heading to Romance. Let's go. And the first mate was like, I think we need to go back to Iceland. We have engine trouble anyway. I think we need to go back. And so that created a conflict to begin with. And it just continued to the point of almost creating a situation of mutiny. And just that tension between the two of them, the conflict between the two of them, and, how quickly they developed characters, even side characters, how quickly they developed them, and you got a connection with them. The secondary radio operator, right? The gunner and the gunner's mate, Yep. I mean, they weren't huge parts, but you just got connected to them because they gave you enough of their story and their motivations for why they were there and the kind of people they were, that when things happened, it had more of an emotional impact on you, So what was the most impactful part of that movie for you?
Most impactful.
Yeah.
I think it was when they had to leave behind the guy that fell overboard.
Yeah, that was tough, man. That was tough,
Because he was right there.
Yeah,
he was right there.
But they couldn't stop, because they'd had the engines turned off and they were trying to float through those minefields, and he had fallen in, and they couldn't turn around and get him because they were in the middle of a minefield. They had to keep going straight. He was the second operator. He was the second radio operator. And he and the female, the head radio operator had already had a little bit of a conflict, and then had already kind of repaired that, and kind of you could tell that they were kind of establishing a little bit of a relationship, and then they lose him. I think with that same scene, I think the most impactful thing was that conflict between the captain and the first mate. Because, the reason why they got in that situation to begin with was because the captain had gone down to his quarters or whatever, and the first mate had the bridge. And they saw this ship that had been capsized and saw people on top of it waving for help in the fog.
Yep.
And even though the captain had said, headed straight to Murmansk and we're taking that route, the first mate decided to alter their route to go try to save those people. And as they turned and went that way, that boat got hit by another mine and it sunk and those people were dead. By that point, the captain had come up to the bridge and seen what was going on. And he flipped them back on the right course, and then they had to go through that minefield. And by going through that minefield, they had to hang those rope ladders off the side and have people hang off the side and push those things away. And that's when the second radio operator fell in and ended up being left out to sea by himself to eventually drown. And after that happened, the first mate came running up to the captain and says, "Next time you want to sacrifice some of your men, that count me out," or something like that. And the captain pointed out to him, "Wait a minute. You put us in this position. If you had stayed the course like I told you to do, we would have never been in this position." And then kind of seeing the realization on the first mate's face that he was responsible because of the decision he made, that he ended up losing a man because he thought he was saving people, but what he did was just put his entire ship in danger. That was kind of a neat, very subtle, but kind of a neat, powerful thing that I saw in that. I thought the female operator, the radio operator, I thought she was pretty tough. Yeah, I mean, she just lost the second operator, radio operator, and she basically just kind of got a grim look on her face and turned around and went back to the radio, going, "It's just what I got to do." She didn't give herself the chance, or didn't have the chance to, grieve over it at all. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it puts it in perspective, the reality of these difficult decisions that have to be made, man. I mean, when I was working for that unit down at Fort Benning, and I would talk to some of those guys, and just some of the terribly difficult decisions that they would have to make. It's like, okay, which bad decision do we have to make here, right? It's like you pick the least bad of the bad.
Yep.
But so the captain was just, there was I want the first mate. I want to help people more. I want to be more egalitarian in my thinking. And the captain was like, "Nope, this is the way it is. This is what we're doing, come hell or high water." And there were some advantages to both of those things. And I think in that scene with the captain and the first mate kind of learned, hey, sometimes you have to make hard decisions. In that scene. And then there was a scene later in the movie, towards the end of the movie, with where the captain learned a lesson from the first mate. And I won't kind of get that's kind of the climax of the movie, and I don't want to mess that up because I'd like people to see it. But they kind of learned a little bit from each other, and I thought that was kind of cool to see. No, I have not seen Warfare yet. I wanted to see it in the theater, but this is somebody in the chat, guys. No, I wanted to see it in the theater. And I didn't get a chance to just because of timing. So now I'm just going to have to rent it and watch it on the TV here. I've heard that it is probably the most realistic depiction of those operators. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. There's another one out there. I think it's called Land of Bad with Russell Crowe. And I forgot who else is in that movie. But it's some special operators. And the young guy that they bring on, the young kind of inexperienced guy that they bring onto the team is a TAC P, which is exactly, or a JTAC, which is exactly the job that my guys did. So it was kind of cool to see somebody kind of doing what they do in the movie. Is kind of neat. But yeah, I definitely want to see Warfare. It's high on my list to see. And I kind of like A24's movies too. Oh, is he? So okay, I have to. Yeah, if he liked it that much, and if Jacob went and saw it like 3 times, yeah, I got to check that one out. So, but anyway, so I thought this one. Yes, it was set in World War II. Yes, it was a World War II movie. It wasn't just set there. There was World War II stuff going on. But man, it was so much about the relationships and learning, that it takes a little give and go from both sides, and just making hard decisions and realizing that sometimes there's no good outcome to the decisions that you have to make. But man, just the constant tension. I can't even imagine, even if I was on one of those ships and there was the escort, not being for those 12 days, having my sphincter puckered for 12 straight days. So, man. Anyway, look, I don't want to go into a whole lot of it. And like I said, we don't review movies. We talk about them. This is definitely one of those where the Dragon Dice, we're blessed this time because we got a really good movie this time. We get some real dogs, but this is definitely one to check out, especially since it was inspired by true events. If this was kind of based on things that really happened, right? It's not just something that somebody made up. So that makes it more powerful, right? I mean, I get what, Mitch, what you're saying in the chat. I get the idea of, that's why I like fake conflicts, because it's easier to deal with. And I agree with that. They're much less stressful. But man, it goes to show you it just feels like the people that were in, those folks in that era were cut from a different cloth than the last couple of generations, willing, people signing up to go to war when they're 16 and lying about their age to go to war at 16, and doing the things they did. It's like, man, Connor, if you've never, and I don't think you ever have, but if you ever get a chance to watch Band of Brothers, I think it's on Netflix, or it used to be on Netflix. Watching Band of Brothers, I think it's like 10 episodes. It was an HBO short miniseries about this company called Easy Company. I think it was Easy Company in World War II, and it's based on a true story. And so periodically you get interviews from the actual men from E Company, in the episodes, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So you should check that out. So, anyways,
I will.
As far as this movie goes, guys, absolutely, check this out. Whether you like war movies or not, I mean, there's a couple of deaths in there, but it's not like typical war movie deaths and everything. It's just them trying to survive on this ship and get where they got to go. And the motivations for why some of them were there was really cool to see, But anyway, so check it out. Again, the movie's name is the Arctic Convoy. It's on Hulu. It's easy to see. If you want to watch the English version, you can. You can watch the dubbed version. Or the original language version. And it's Mitch, I see what you're saying. Talking about your mom's dad, that he kind of did that. That's it's just amazing that they do that, right? And I'm kind of blown away by that. That your granddad was in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Man, that is
Jeez.
He's seen some stuff, and we just don't make people like that anymore, I don't think,
Nope.
So that's cool. And I completely understand why you'd be scared of him. It's like, wait, you survived all that? I don't even want to be around you. So it makes you really appreciate that, and the kind of people that could do that and willingly walk into bullets flying. So, I don't want to say too much more about the movie because I want people to see it and enjoy it for all that it is. So, I would definitely easily give it an 8 out of 10. Really, really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my more favorite ones that we've seen for the podcast. So what are your final thoughts on it, Connor?
I would definitely watch this again. And that's a rare review coming from me.
Yeah, and I've already watched it twice, so I would love to sit and watch it with your mom when she gets home. So I might try to talk her into it. So anyway, okay, well that's kind of it. I don't have anything else to talk about. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's roll for the next movie, and then we'll get out of here. And I'm gonna go put some calamine on these itchy legs of mine. So, all right, hold on. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right. So looks like we got a 10. Rolled a 10, which would be we're gonna watch another movie on Hulu next week.
All right.
And then rolled a 5. Which is comedy.
Okay.
And then I rolled.
I haven't watched a comedy in a while. Good.
Rolled a 98. We're going deep cut. So
deep dive.
let me pull up Hulu, and then pull up the comedy genre, and then I'll go find the 98th movie in the comedy genre on Hulu. It might take a while for me. I might have to play the music twice to get to that. Let's see. So anyway, I'll be right back. All right. I'm still scrolling. I'm going to play the music again. We're going up another floor on the elevator. Okay, so we're going to see a movie called Coup, like C-O-U-P, like a military coup. Coup! Exclamation point. It's a movie from 2023. It stars Peter Skarsgård. So
you're gonna have to remind me who that is.
Okay, well Mitch will know who Peter Skarsgård is. Do you remember? Do you remember the movie? Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
Do you remember the guy that played the nerdy scientist guy that ended up with a big massive head?
Yes.
I think that's Peter Skarsgård. If I remember right.
Does he have a giant head in this one too?
No. So
I may not recognize him.
So anyway, you've seen him in other things. So you'd recognize him when you see him. But anyway, so the tagline is, a mysterious grifter appears on an isolated seaside estate claiming to be a wealthy family's new chef. When a plague descends on the island, the mischievous cook rouses his fellow staff to rebel and take over the mansion. The servant becomes the master in this devious class war comedy starring Peter Skarsgård and Bill, who credited with the Batman and Dopesick, and Billy Magnuson, who was in Roadhouse and No Time to Die. Him I don't recognize. I'll probably recognize him if I see him. But anyway, so Pennywise's dad, Peter Skarsgård. So anyway, so that's the movie we're going to see. Some comedy about a grifter pretending to be a chef that takes over a rich guy's house by staging a coup with his staff. There you go. So that's what we're going to watch next week. A comedy from 2023 called Coup. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. Maybe it'll turn out okay. Maybe it'll be weird. Who knows? But that's all I got. I want to get out of here and stop itching and then play some Xbox. So I'm going to get out of here. So thanks for folks that listen on the podcast side. Thanks, Mitch, so much for hanging with us in the chat. It was great having you in and giving us some feedback on all these kind of things. So y'all have a good time and y'all have a good week, and we will see y'all next time on the Gene Pool Variety Hour. And always remember,
stay nerdy, my friends.
There you go. nice if I could not stumble over my words. Whatever. It is what it is.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.